And as you know, Turning Leaf provides treatment and crisis services to intellectually challenged and mentally ill people in our communities. And these services are successful largely because, and I can't emphasize this enough, they're successful because of the resilience, the perseverance, and the strength of the participants themselves. If you've heard some of the messages that have been shared with you tonight, it has to be clear that they seriously have got skills and fortitude and resilience and perseverance that are enviable. And unfortunately, it's what they had to have to beat the insurmountable obstacles that they had put in front of them. And I respect them deeply for that. But Turning Leaf is also very successful because of the combination of staff and clients working together. And I'd like to give you some quick snapshots as to what's happening and why this thing is working so well and what makes it successful. In Turning Leaf, for example, in Selkirk, for example, there's a cluster of townhouses that serve as a community within a community. These homes allow for the otherwise isolated, addicted people suffering from mental illness to share safe housing and celebrate their successes over mental illness together, which they do, over Sunday dinners. And in Winkler, our services in Winkler, because of the compassion of the team there, Jerry, a young man suffering from mental illness that no one would work with or want to be friends with, apparently, now lives independently and safely and happily in his own place. And he has a community now in Turning Leaf where he didn't have one before. In Ports La Prairie, there's a group of transition homes that serve as refuges to individuals that have been able to transition out of institutions in our province. And with the help of staff, these residents learn the basic life skills that they need to live independently in the community. And they learn how to live safely in the community as well. It's where Kevin, who only 3 years ago was incarcerated, suffering from a severe mental illness, experiencing homicidal thoughts and inappropriate sexual behavior. Now, he lives safely, he's well treated, he's on medication, there's no involvement with the criminal justice system. He has a healthy relationship with his girlfriend and is employed, believe it or not. And I'm excited to share, and I really am excited to share, that this Turning Leaf approach, this thing that we're doing and have been able to do throughout Winnipeg and Selkirk and Portage and Winkler, has caught on so much that we've been able to be the first organization in this province's history of its kind to go beyond the Manitoba borders and open up a social services experience like Turning Leaf in Saskatchewan. And we've been very well received. Yeah. And this Turning Leaf approach works very well there too. In fact, we can't keep up with the demand that's there. So in Regina, our first experience was 4 young women, teenage girls that transitioned out of an institution. The Turning Leaf team there showed them compassion and unconditional acceptance. They showed them that they had the right to make their own choices, like what they want for breakfast, what they want for dinner. They showed them that they had the right to go to school with everybody else, and they showed them they deserve a home of their own. Those are the little successes that we're experiencing. But right here in Winnipeg, where this thing all started, Turning Leaf is doing some amazing things all the time, 24 hours a day. At any given time, there's teams of Turning Leaf workers going into jails daily, advocating for people in the criminal justice system. There are teams of people advocating for impoverished, intellectually challenged, and mentally ill people that are in the welfare system. We have people that are helping vulnerable women leave the sex trade, and we have people that are helping young men that are in gangs leave that exploited lifestyle. And if you've spoken to some of the staff throughout this evening, you've been able to hear about their experiences with Turning Leaf, you'll know that there's some really common themes throughout the work that we do with the vulnerable and marginalized people. Discrimination, poverty, homelessness, stigma, conflict with the law. These are all things that the folks that the Turning Leaf staff help people with every day. They're seemingly insurmountable obstacles, but the one common theme that was consistent throughout all of the narratives, and I would dare say is consistent throughout the narratives of most of our clients, is that of addiction. Addiction is one of those things that actually perpetuates the pain that all the participants that we have. It perpetuates the stigma, it perpetuates conflict with the law. It's always present during abuse and neglect and victimization somehow. It is the common theme. People with intellectual challenge and mental illness, they get addicted like everybody else. But what makes it very unique, what makes this particular population most deserving of the voice that we can give them, is the fact that they are the ones that fall through the gaps most regularly. For example, everyone knows that AA and AFM and other fantastic treatment options, and thank God that they're there, are available to most of us if we fall in hard times. Yeah? But these organizations aren't designed to work with people with mental illness or intellectual challenge necessarily. And so our people fall through the gaps in the following ways. First of all, sometimes they're simply not eligible for certain services because they have an intellectual challenge. Their IQ is too low. Or they're not eligible because they have untreated mental illness. For example, individuals with schizophrenia, they can't manage the auditory hallucinations and they don't fit in well. And so they're asked to leave. Often there's just not enough funding. There's not enough funding. Participants that we work with often demonstrate some very complicated behaviors that put their placement in treatment centers at jeopardy because they just don't fit in well and they don't understand relationships, and quite honestly, they're in a lot of turmoil and they're not too worried about fitting in. They just want the voices to go away, or they want the depression to give them a break for a day. They are in a battle, and fitting into treatment sometimes isn't their biggest priority. Sometimes our folks just simply aren't literate enough and they can't engage the treatment material. And finally, many just simply don't understand what's expected of them in treatment because they have an intellectual challenge. These are the gaps that our people experience on a regular basis. And when they do experience these things, guess what happens? They get discouraged. They say, what's the point? And they do what you think they'll do. They might give up. And that addiction remains. And that addiction that they have to manage the intense pain that they've got in their life is the seemingly only thing that keeps them okay. And quite honestly, it's tough to argue with them, because some of these people have had immensely painful experiences in their life. But there's got to be a different way to this. There's got to be something that can help. These are the gaps that exist in our system. But 10 years ago, we identified gaps similar to this, and we felt compelled to do something to try and fill those gaps, to stop vulnerable and marginalized people from falling through them, from experiencing this disproportionate discrimination or disproportionate hurt, disproportionate hopelessness. So just as we did 10 years ago, we're going to do something again now, today. What can we possibly do for these individuals that are falling through the gaps, that struggle with this intense addiction? Just like 10 years ago when we were compelled to act, and it's largely because we were compelled to act because of compassion, we're going to act on compassion again. And what we're going to do is we're going to build, this is the announcement, by the way. And I'm dead set on this, because this is an opportunity for us for the next chapter to change lives and make sure people get the help that they need. We are going to build a specialized addictions treatment center for those living with intellectual challenge. Now, when I say that, I can assure you that this is not an easy task. But that's why I'm unveiling it to you folks today, the friends and family of this organization. This is a project that needs a community of people behind it. How are we going to do that? Well, we're unveiling a capital campaign in the early spring entitled Time for Hope. And the purpose of this capital campaign is to raise $650,000 to build Manitoba's first addictions treatment residence for the intellectually challenged and the mentally ill. And we're asking you to be a part of this action. Wendy suggested 10 years ago, we didn't know what this was going to look like. I wish I did, because it's with that same certainty that I say, we can do this. We can build this thing. It's going to work. We need some help. We need people to be a part of this. And I'm asking you folks today to be a part of this action that we're taking. I'm asking you folks to be a part of this campaign to provide a service that is desperately needed to individuals who don't have a voice. So how can you do that? Well, there's some really concrete ways, and I'll share them with you. One, you can stay connected. You can stay connected with us on the Facebook, and you can stay connected on the website. You can come to events like these, as many as we can throw. Please. Also, you can volunteer with us. If you're interested in having an active role in the work that we're doing, and you want to see how this thing can help people change their lives, so call us. We'll tell you how to do that. We need gifts in kind. Leanne Peters, if she hasn't found you already, she will. And she'll ask you, what can you do for Turning Leaf? And if it's something you can donate, like personal hygiene items or used clothing or whatever it is, we'll take it. We need it. Additionally, if there's an opportunity for us to come to your place of work or your place of business, your church community, your bingo group, and share this story, or at least raise the awareness for this issue, that's my job, and I'll do that. Because I want to make sure that we're raising the awareness on this issue to the point where everyone knows how critical it is. And finally, as you know, a project like this is going to need capital. Now, I'm looking around the room and I see strong business leaders of our community. I sure do. And I know all of you that's ever put a project together or run their own business or started their own business plan knows that capital is critical, and that's what we need. So on your tables in front of you are donation cards and donation envelopes. I'm asking you to consider being a part of the action that we're taking here to build this service, and donate what you can. The plan is to launch this in early spring. And the plan is also to have generated a substantial portion of the dollars we need. That's $650,000. So that when we launch this, when we tell the community, when we tell our city, when we tell the province, and we go to our provincial funders, we can say, this issue is so critical, it is so important, that not only have we been able to generate this level of support, but the hundreds of people that support Turning Leaf have made it a reality already. That's what we would like. Consider being a part of it. I'd like to thank you all for coming. Thank you for sharing this 10th anniversary with us. We're very proud. We're glad to share it. Make sure you have a good time. We've got time yet. The bar's still open. Signature cocktails. Get some tickets for those prizes. Meet some people. I really appreciate you coming, and thank you for sharing your evening with us. All the best.
Fantastic. Thank you.